Hello, friends, and welcome to Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Danielle, and I've seen almost nothing.
Hi, I'm Jill Friedman, and I got both my flu and COVID vaccinations, and so should you.
Yes, indeed.
Wait, at once?
Yeah.
Because I did that, and I won during one of the rounds, and it kind of wiped me out. But it was worth it.
Oh no, I was a puddle for 3 days. Like it was.
Oh no!
Like it was Friday. Got it Friday evening. Did not feel like myself until Tuesday.
Oh no!
Oh.
Still, but you know what? Still better than the flu or COVID.
Yeah. Oh, we are. Yeah, I'm just like I'm lucky. My school provides the flu shots, so like I get the flu shot at school, and then now I've learned to just schedule the COVID one at a different time.
Yeah, and that's a quick PSA to all the listeners. If you've not had a flu shot before, maybe don't get them at once because you don't necessarily know if they affect you or not. I am blissfully unaffected by both shots. Thank you very much. Knock on all the wood. But yeah, I double up all the time. I'm just like, yep, just do it. Just give it.
Give me the juice.
Give it to
me. Yeah, no.
I mean, yeah, that's really lucky.
Yeah,
sometimes the flu shot knocks me out, and sometimes like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you're a wild card. You never quite know what you're gonna get.
No.
Oh no.
COVID puts me makes me like Subway track juice, but
fair. But you also had COVID, right?
No, I've never had COVID.
Hey, same.
Tweet.
Whoa.
Tweet, Kinahura, please God, don't get any ideas. To the best of my knowledge,
I know, unicorns.
I have never had it. The closest I came to thinking I had it was back in January when I was in New York. I got a cold. And the way I felt reminded me of how I'd felt when I had gotten my shot back last fall. Yeah. And then, but I never popped positive. All of the people who were around me never popped positive. Like, so I don't know. I don't know if that was just the juice working extra hard.
Yeah.
Or what, but like,
I mean, that was when colds still exist, everybody.
Colds do still exist. And I think that was like one of the first ones I'd had in like 3 years. So my body was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, no, that was when I decided that I was going to drive back to Austin by myself.
Oh, right. I remember this.
Oh, boy.
Well, because I was like, if I have COVID, I don't want to get on a plane. Second off, if this is just this bad cold, getting on an airplane is going to give me a wretched ear infection.
I know. I like that you just decided to do not pass go, skip right to hard mode, and like.
But it wasn't hard. It really wasn't. It was really wonderful and pleasant until I got to Dallas, and then I got iced in and stuck at my friend's place for 3 days.
I hear that happens now in Dallas. I hear that's now a thing.
Okay, look, I have been in Dallas I have seen a foot of snow in Dallas 13 years ago. So,
well, there's actually a McElroy joke for one of their Dallas live shows. I think Merle casts control weather and has baseball size hailstones fall. And poor Griffin turns to the audience and goes, "Okay, we're in Dallas and that's a little too real. Could we not do baseball size hail? But we're not here to talk about Dallas. But do get your vaccine. We are pro-vaccine.
Please do.
Here to talk about Gravity Falls, episodes 16, 17, and 18 in season 1. These 3 episodes are really solid show episodes. Like, I feel like they have a very concise beginning, middle, and end. I feel like you don't necessarily even have to know a whole lot about each character. I almost say they're standalones. Like, Carpet Diem, in my opinion, is one of those episodes that you can just show somebody and be like, do you like this? Because that's the show. It's
very much that's it. That's the show. But even for all of that, they're also very character driven episodes.
Yes, which is another reason I super like them.
Which is really funny because it's very weird to say these are both some of the most episodic episodes, but also the most character driven. which is not usually how that works.
I think the show is able to get away with it because you're not paying attention to the individual pieces that make up the character as much as you are, like the character is learning with you, and they're learning things that can seamlessly go into the next episode without necessarily spending a whole lot of time on it. For example, Grunkle Stan understanding that his favorite niece is super great and he shouldn't be so selfish is not necessarily a thing we need to keep talking about. Like, you're just going to see little hints of that going forward. Yeah. Mabel and Dipper understanding each other a little bit more is not necessarily going to play a huge role in the next 5 episodes because we've already covered that.
Right. Yeah, they've already done a very good job at establishing just like how tight these two kids are. Also, one of the best body swap episodes in creation. It does the thing that I always want all body swap things to do, which is, but you like this is like you have to scientific method this. Like, someone else also has to try it. Other things have to happen. And like they instantly have like 12 people just body swap between them, and I'm like, yes, this. And nobody questions it. Like, everyone's just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, we just body swapped. Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
sure, okay.
I love Candy and Grenda's reactions to being in different bodies.
Me too. I like Grenda's with I have tiny little doll hands.
I just, oh God, they're so great.
Also, just quick shout out to Candy for being amazing.
I love
consistently
Candy.
the best.
I love Candy and Grenda.
Yeah. No, the two of them.
Was it Grenda who ended up in the police officer's body and was just like,
they both were.
They both were. Okay.
I think one of them was Blubs and one of them was Durland, and it was amazing.
I'm trying to remember which one was Durland and disappointed that they were Durland.
I think that was Grenda.
I want to say it was Grenda.
I think it was Grenda.
I kind of remember her looking in the mirror and be like, "Oh."
And I think I remember Candy commenting about how she felt so authoritative in Blubs' body.
Tell me you understand that relationship dynamic without telling me you understand that relationship dynamic. Like, even a tween can understand this relationship dynamic.
Exactly. So my very first note on this episode was, before turning red, there was this episode.
Yeah. No, it's...
Oh, interesting. It's so funny because I saw Boys Crazy as the Turning Red episode.
You know,
less so Carpet Diem.
Right. So I wrote these notes 2 days ago, and when I saw that note, I was like, "Oh, that's Boys Crazy." No, that's Carpet Diem, because that's where it starts. That's how Also, can we talk about that mini golf?
Oh, I know.
I mean,
stand shot,
attic stuff, mini golf.
So, why am I out here at this hour?
Out here at night?
Best game.
I just really appreciate that whole episode is just tell me you understand kids making up their own games. Like, yeah, you know, I think the kids on my block, like, we used to play something that was like 2 parts kickball, 1 part baseball, but like we reinvented bases. And of course we're all kids, right? So it was all someone's front yard because you couldn't go very far. Mm-hmm. So it was actually like running to a base was like 4 steps, you know, like that weird, we're just going to play golf in a mystery shack. We're just going to hit whatever and break some windows.
Exactly. Property damage. We don't know her.
Dipper, do your laundry.
Dipper, do your gross.
Gross. I did like his excuse though. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I do my laundry? And I was like, this is the most ADD response I've ever heard. Correct.
Like, the thing that gets me, this is like all like, can men do laundry?
I know.
Discourse ever. I think about how when I was 11 years old, I went to summer camp. And I went to the summer camp. I guess I was 10 or anyway, it doesn't matter. I'd never done my own laundry before.
I mean, that makes sense.
We had a washer We had a washer dryer in the house. I'd seen my mom do it. I'd helped her fold plenty, but like I had never done my own laundry.
Yeah, same.
And the camp I went to was a computer camp, and it was on a college campus in just outside of Boston. And it was a dorm. So there was a laundry room on my floor because the girls' hallway, because the girls only needed one hallway because it was a computer camp. And this was the early 90s. Yeah. And I walked in, I looked at the thing, I saw the quarters, and I knew just sort of like mimetically, from watching television, oh, you need quarters for laundry. And I just freaking did my laundry. I understood.
Good for you.
What was to figure out? I understood you put dirty. I don't remember if I separated my lights and my darks, but I don't think I really cared either. That's what I was going to say. I've also never separated.
Very instantly ruin something that was white, or
no? I've also never really had that much white clothing.
Consistently do that as an adult.
I don't think I have ever separated my lights and my darks.
Interesting.
Or if I did, I stopped doing it like 20 something years ago.
I used to do it, and then I stopped for reasons because like my job didn't. I only used to do it because I was constantly wearing business casual attire, which needed to be separated. And then I switched jobs, and the job that I've had for the last 20 years. Has it been that long? Here's 20 years. Has only required me to wear like t-shirt and jeans. So I'm like, oh, I don't have to separate anything. But then I got married and it was like, oh no, you actually wear real clothes. I guess I'm separating again. Never mind. But like for 20 whole years, I was like, it all goes,
think about it.
Whatever.
I mean, not for nothing, and I don't know whether this is real or not, but the only times I ever really separate are when I have purchased a new item of clothing that is like a brightly colored thing.
And you don't know how that thing's going to bleed.
Exactly. I'm like, well, this must be washed with dark things like 3 or 4 times. And then after I do that, I'm like, okay, who cares? Throw it all in.
And then it no longer matters.
That's just self-preservation.
Exactly.
I love Stan in this episode too, because I love that he's
so
like,
good.
We'll ask Stan.
Baby fights.
We'll ask Uncle Stan.
Baby fights.
He's wise. And then it just cuts to him and he's watching nothing but fights on television. And then he realizes his niece and nephew are fighting and he's like, I can make this interesting and work to my advantage.
I can make money off of this. Yeah. The thing that I really liked about this was really the first episode where Mabel and Stan are at odds in a way that doesn't feel resolvable. Obviously it does resolve, but like
this episode,
so much of, was it this episode? Oh no, now I'm
because he does decide to give the room to Dipper. Like, is that the part you're referring to?
I may very well be.
I mean, because they also have issues. Here we go.
In the this is actually in my notes from
the third episode. Because I was going to say I agree with you because at 100%,
from the third episode,
it's 100%.
But
the third episode.
But it kind of sort of has like seeds of it here.
Sure.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think like his relationship with Mabel becomes a little bit, not that it hasn't been obvious, because, if you've been watching the show, you know that he always rags on Dipper. He always makes fun of Dipper. And when the characters in the show are making fun of Dipper, it's like Mabel and Grunkle Stan against Dipper.
Right. And then
it's not like, and it's not like it hasn't been there. But this is the episode where he says explicitly, like, oh, it's so funny when Mabel is in Dipper's body. Oh, it's so funny. I find you so much more likable now.
That was funny.
Guess I'm going to give you the room, And so we find out that it's not just that he doesn't like Dipper or that he, you know what I mean? Like it's real, for lack of a better way to phrase it.
If you recall, one of the first things that Stan says is, okay, who wants to reshingle the roof in 105 degree heat? So this is July, right? And so I looked it up to see what the hottest day in 2012 was. It was July 4th, which, funnily enough, is the date that's circled on the calendar.
Yeah, it is.
In the room.
That's amazing. Yeah. They did the research.
They did the research. I clocked that as well. I also kind of wondered if that was like somebody's birthday.
July 4th?
July 4th, specifically 1982.
Oh.
Because I was like, I noticed the year and I was like, huh, interesting.
I mean, there's a whole lot of banjo polish in this episode. I'm not even going to lie.
Oh, no, I know. There's a lot we can't talk about.
Oh, man.
It is just
okay.
Costco sized.
Costco
I can't wait to look back on this episode fondly.
You're going to scream.
There are things, Danielle, that like I mean, you know, we're going to talk about subliminal messages in a second in the second episode, but the show is already giving you subliminal messages, and I cannot wait for things to drop for you to be like, what? Yeah.
This is it. This is I'm picking up what they're putting down. Finally.
No, they're very good. They're very good at making the stuff valid without making them a big deal. If that makes sense. Because like once it becomes a big deal, it becomes a big deal. Like there's, I apologize, listeners, because our Flag Means Death is dropping soon when we're recording this, and my whole brain is just about the gay pirates right now. But like, I love.
I mean, you had to let go of Good Omens somehow,
as if I let go
right?
of it. It's they're just roommates right now in a very awkward situation in my brain. Like they're in a 2-bedroom.
Oh my God, they were roommates?
2-bedroom apartment, and they're not really, and none of them are talking to each other. It's very odd, but they will talk to each other. I just need season 2 to happen so they could talk to each other.
Yes.
But like so my favorite sort of anecdote is, because they had only so many episodes, Waititi talks about how he wanted to focus on the crew in those first 4 episodes, because as soon as Blackbeard shows up, it just becomes about Steed and Blackbeard. So basically he used those 4 episodes to like really make the crew sympathetic and really learn about their lives and like get a chance to fall in love with the crew before your focus is suddenly shifted on all these other people. I think that's also what we're seeing here. Like we're seeing really ingenious way of like really focusing in on these particular main characters so that when the thing drops, it makes all the more sense, because it's been building up in such a subtle way that you don't even see it coming. And then suddenly that's all you can see.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, rewatching it from with the lens of hindsight, you're like, oh, this was actually really, not only was it really well foreshadowed, so much of it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
So much of the stuff that they managed to keep internally consistent and actually reverse engineerable into lore is most of it.
Oh, interesting. Wait, was that because there wasn't like a guarantee of a second season, or
Probably
what was going on
that
they had to reverse engineer?
The big bad of the whole show you have not met yet.
Yeah.
And when that character is introduced, they were just supposed to be a one-off.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or if not a one-off, then like not as important as they became. But let's talk about what, because otherwise I'm going, like, I love speculating like this, but I will let a spoiler fall out of my mouth. And I will not be able to ever forgive myself.
This is like
no
Danielle,
spoilers. Spoiler free zone.
Danielle and I trying not to tell Nella about season 5 of Fringe, because all we kept saying was like, it's completely different and you're going to hate it. I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
that's the season set in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all set in
my favorite thing is you get a taste of it in season 4. And she was like, oh, I do hate this. I was like, well, congratulations. You finally got a real taste of this. Of what season?
Wait, what happens in season 4?
Congratulations. We gave you like 5 outs.
Remind me what the taste in season 4
You have a random episode of season 4 that's just in the future, like before the season finale.
Right.
Like it takes place in the universe that season 5 takes place in.
Gotcha.
And it literally makes no sense. Like it comes in out of nowhere. You're just there now. And like, and we had to turn to Nella and be like, So what'd you think?
So this is the thing.
So this is it. Do you want to watch?
Yeah, we gave her so many outs. We were like, you can stop at any time. Really, I'm amazed you made it this far. Please don't feel obligated to keep watching. But I don't think that's going to happen with you, Danielle. I think you're going to really enjoy the banjo polish once the banjo polish is gone.
Fantastic! Can't wait.
And speaking of subliminal messages,
before Jill, was there anything else you wanted to discuss in this episode before we move on to the next episode?
Let me just read out my notes and we can riff however we please. One, I love that the eye bags are the clue that Dipper is Mabel.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Oh, yeah, you're
I
right.
thought they both had those, really, but now that I think about it, they do not.
It was like the eye bags, but also like the hair.
Yeah, the eye bags and the hair.
The hair was what I noticed first, I think.
What is this?
What is this thing? Listeners, I am wearing a hair clip that makes my hair kind of look like the thing that is on the top of Dipper and Mabel's heads.
You prepared?
I just needed my hair on my face. Oh God, the implications of this. And then in all caps, we are in the fanfic zone.
You mean the body swapping?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sue's saying cannibals are onto something. I taste delicious.
Yeah, no.
That
was Grunkle Stan, yeah.
That, but yes.
Grunkle Stan, that's right.
Which I also...
when he's eating the omelet shaped like a space.
I also love because it implies that Grunkle Stan has met cannibals and they think he's tasty.
That was a delicious looking omelet.
It was.
Wait, fanfic opportunities.
Are you not familiar with the body swap trope of fanfic?
I'm familiar with the concept.
Just as it's a trope in normal,
Yes.
It's a trope in fanfic that can be treated as innocently or as X-rated as you please.
100%.
I mean, this is one of those episodes you write as a person and just be like, well, the fans are going to do what the fans are going to do, and I'm not going to look.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, like, what, based on that comment, what is your favorite, or do you have a favorite, like, fanfic opportunity or fanfic that was birthed, as it were, from this episode?
I actually don't think I've read one. None are coming. It was just more of a general sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have read fanfic, not necessarily in Gravity Falls fandom, where a body swap happens.
There's one right now that my wife is reading for Baldur's Gate 3, and she's losing her mind.
my favorite, like body swap and hijinks ensue. Your favorite, sorry.
Oh no, my favorite body swap fic is a Welcome to Night Vale fic that's definitely rated M.
Not safe for podcast.
Not safe for podcast. but it's really beautifully done, and like the body swap thing is
tasteful.
I'll forward it. You guys can read it if you want it.
We've actually watched some very tasteful body swap things.
Yeah, we have for the pod.
That wasn't Fringe. That was other than Fringe.
Other than Fringe. No.
Yeah. We watched.
We also got very mad at Fringe for doing body swap a lot.
Yeah, we got very pissed. But that was different.
We watched Your Name, which is a beautiful anime.
Right, which I still need to watch.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, let's watch it together.
We should watch it together.
Your Name is one of those movies that I could watch literally over and over and over again, just like endlessly.
Yeah. Which it looks so pretty. Which makes me excited because Danielle finally understands my level of everything, where I just watch things over and over and over again.
Pig Seuss, Danielle, you made a joke in last episode, last week or the week before, where you said something about Seuss turning into an animal, and I forget what the context was, but I was like, just wait,
just you wait, just you wait, it's coming,
just you wait.
See, maybe somewhere deep down inside, there's a tiny part of me that is the Seuss. I am all seeing. I am all knowing. I do not know that I am all seeing and all knowing.
There you go. Seuss swaps with an animal. Sorry, I had to.
It's a real I'm omniscient, but I don't know I'm omniscient because I'm too omniscient for my own.
But I don't know I'm omniscient. Exactly.
Roll around in their own filth.
You know, it's the
like
air.
Zeus.
You breathe it. I'm going to interrupt your list slightly because we're talking about Seuss, just to say that I think that this episode has so many fantastic moments where Seuss is like the character who comes crashing through the fourth wall. And it's like...
Well, my last note for the episode is Waddles' Seuss is a whole episode of its own.
Yes.
So like you almost want the like Tales of Ba Sing Se that's the not sad version that's Waddles
as Seuss and Seuss as Waddles. Yeah. No, I would 100%.
Seuss as Waddles. Like I need to see it. Like they were given the most delicious taste of Seuss of Waddles as Seuss and this woman falling in love with him. And I'm like, I just desperately need to know. I desperately need to know what happened.
So I had this moment of, and maybe I'm reading too much into it because we all know that never happens. I never do that. I never overthink anything ever. But I had this really strange moment of like, this is the very definition of like, thinking a relationship is going to a place that it actually really super isn't. And you just build up this relationship in your head. And I'm sitting here like a pig.
That poor girl
in Zeus's body cannot consent. Like they can't.
Right.
They can't even tell you I love you. They can't even ask you out on a date. They can't my whole brain just shut down. And I was like, this is not the relationship you think it is.
I know. And that's why I'm just like, I'm desperate. I want to see it. I want to know because it's gotta be so
the
many
misinterpretations.
Moments, like the one where, yes, like so many moments, like the one where Grunkle Stan was telling who he thought was Seuss, that he's going to decrease his pay. And then the not Seuss just puts his hand on Grunkle Stan's nose.
Is this a negotiation tactic?
It sends me every time.
Right. It's so good.
Every time.
Then, you know, you just, because the Waddles that is Seuss is just silent, and there you just read into it everything that you want to read into it. Which
it's a tabula rasa.
Exactly what happened. Yeah. It's like, yes.
And then she just doesn't find Seuss attractive anymore. And I'm like, oh no. No. What happened?
Let's hope she never meets Waddles, because that would get weird.
That could get weird.
Yeah.
Could get a little weird. You, Waddles, remind me of a man I loved.
Can we talk about the romance novels?
Oh, with the werewolves?
Wolfman Bear Chest.
I really liked the game.
Yes, the mystery date.
Yes. I mean, that's very obviously a callback to a game that was around in the 90s that you literally like found a mall boyfriend or something. Was it Girl Talk? Was that what it's called? I don't entirely remember, but there was this like, you know, and even Candy being like, he sounds like a robot, because he did. It was just like a black box that would, you know, you would put in different cards, and depending on the answers you gave, you ended up with a mall boyfriend. And it was weird.
That was a game?
It was a game aimed at preteens, which is also why I thought it was funny, because the name of the game also has something preteen edition. I was like, there was no teen that was playing this game. We were all preteens.
Not at all.
That's a very strange game.
I didn't personally have this game, but I had friends who had this game, and it was really ridiculous and hilarious, because much like people talk about Stardew Valley now, this is how people talked about this game.
Yeah.
They were like, we have to romance Carl. He's the best one. Right. I was like, what? I was like, what are we even talking about? This is a non-person.
I mean, listen, am I a fan of a game that is lightly a dating sim? Absolutely. But like, did I play hours and hours and hours of, what's that game called? The game I have played hours and hours of and literally cannot remember the name of it. Persona something. 5. The Japanese. Yes. Have I played so many hours of that game so that I can see every possible
configuration
branch of conversation? with all of the possible wives in the game? Yes. And
oh dear.
I feel like
oh dear.
But it was also
right.
like a board game, so it was weird. It was like
That's what I'm trying.
Because it was the 90s. It was the early 90s.
Board game.
It was the early 90s, so it was like it was very early, like Amiibo, basically. Yeah. It was basically the same kind of concept as the Amiibo, where you stick you put the thing on the stand and it reacts according to
and it like there's a chip.
Or something.
Yeah, there's like a chip in a card, and it has this thing. But I'm telling you, Danielle, like in an afternoon, you could figure out what the pairings are on this thing. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not talking about a terribly sophisticated game. Like, I got transported when they started playing that game. I was like, oh no, this was a game. This was a thing. And it was weird.
I love that. See, I totally missed out on that aspect of American culture. I
never played it either, so you're not alone in this one, Danielle.
You didn't miss out. It was just a very specific point in time. It was like they didn't come out with a lot of them. Like only like I said, I didn't even have one. Like I had to go over a friend's house to play it. I think we played it all of twice. Like it was not a very and I'm gonna play it again game.
Does not have high replay value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, the books are also amazing. I didn't mean to stomp all over the books, but they are also hilarious.
No. The books were amazing. The note that I have is that why is Mabel, who is reading romance novels with her friends, not aware of the birds and the bees? Because the conversation that she has with Grunkle Stan, the way obviously she's going to feel awkward answering the questions that he was asking, but like, the I am so traumatized reaction that she gives suggests that this is all brand new information.
Right.
I am of two minds of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
As a cis woman in a cis male body, having a conversation with my uncle, who is not exactly the most responsible, understanding, and communicative adult, about the birds and the bees, looking at me as a small boy, I can only imagine some of those answers are not kosher.
Sure. I like that. And I say that allowing for the fact that hearing male adults to preteen male advice is very different than anything, I would have heard, except for the part where I went to computer camp in the early 90s. Yeah. So it was me, like maybe 10 to 15 other girls, and then like 150 dippers.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, this isn't something I understand exactly, but I feel like given her age, right? Like, could she be in that sort of awkward place where you, like, sort of, because of the world that we live in, understand what it means to, like, have a crush and want to be, like, close to someone, and your heart kind of going pit-pat, but not really understanding anything beyond that, right? So the instant he mentions, like, sweat and your pituitary gland, she's like, ooh, this isn't cute anymore.
Right.
Like, I thought it was going to be cute, but now it's, like, sweat and the pituitary gland.
Well, she thinks it's going to be cute because she's gotten the, like, teenage softies from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret talk.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
And that's my so, like, other mind, awkward, right? Like, Mabel at her core is a romantic. And I can tell you well, okay, I was not a Mabel. I was also not a dipper. I was somewhere in between. But like, I also, it's not that, like, I definitely had the birds and actually, no, that's not true. I knew the entire birds and the bees talk before anyone gave it to me.
Same.
But I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, do we actually know where Mabel and Dipper hail from?
Piedmont, California.
Okay. I also don't know how sheltered they are in Piedmont, California.
I'm going to go for not super.
Okay.
So this is putting Watson and Doyle in a blender and hitting spin. Yeah. A lot of Dipper and Mabel's backstory is basically Alex and Ariel Hirsch's backstory, where they grew up in the Outer Bay Area in California. Their families are sort of originally from, European Jewish East Coast, eventually moved West Coast, and just sort of like, I don't
existed.
know. I just
existed.
Existed. Yeah. So it's like their vibes are very sort of late 90s America kind of. I don't even know how to. My brain keeps going that. My brain keeps saying, well, your nibblings are the same age as them and you know what they grew up around. But there's no way for me to convey that on a podcast. It's like, they're just like my family. Everyone knows what that means, right?
But I mean, like, so, I also even earlier today, I had a conversation with someone who, yes, was sheltered, but they also talked about how they themselves were an extremely late bloomer. Again, like we were talking before, crushes are one thing. Understanding all the things that come along with intimacy did not occur to them until they were much older. And it I think it's an interesting conversation to have because I also had the reaction to that conversation from where I was like, I have absolutely no idea what that's like because I, at a young age, was much more interested in physical aspects of intimacy, of like holding hands and kissing and all of those things. And I like,
and the pituitary
gland and sweat. Like, I just imagine Grunkle Stan telling you to like be sure to wash. Like, I can't. Like,
kid, do as I say, not as I do. You got to shower at least once a day.
Exactly. But it's not even Dipper, it's Mabel. Like, I would be mortified.
Right. Yeah.
Mortified.
I mean, I just think about so Dipper and Mabel, like, they're 12 turning 13. They just finished 7th grade. They're going into 8th grade. The books I was upset, like the books that I read in the second half of my 7th grade year, Valley of the Horses, The Mammoth Hunters. And I don't know if you're familiar with those books, but they're basically Neolithic what Grenda's reading.
Love it.
So it's the Earth's Children series by Gene M. Owell, and they are half the like descriptions of land and food are like Tolkien level. It's like you feel like you're in Middle Earth, the way she goes on about the steppes and the food and and all those sort of like cultural stuff that she mostly makes up, all based on vibes, but it's all sort of like a really interesting take on Neolithic human culture. And then there's the sex, of which there is a lot.
Oh no, I sit here as someone who, like, I was 100% reading things I probably should not have been reading. Yeah. I was also, side note listeners, I don't know if this is TMI, but I was writing things that no one should have read ever on the planet. And that was before I turned 12.
Yeah.
But I'm also sitting here like, like, for a very long time, I didn't understand that people didn't do this. And so even just in the last, 10 years, realizing that there's entirely different queer spectrum of people who absolutely did not understand all the things I was doing. And I like,
right.
And I think a lot of people don't fully understand that, just like, it's like your own experience. Like, I'm also bisexual, and I feel like I was 17 before I realized not everyone was bisexual.
Wait, not everyone's bisexual?
Right. Not everyone's bisexual. Other
I know. I'm engaged to one. No.
It exists. Like, I can't explain like the weird level of narcissism that our own brains just color the world with. And until you find a different,
but that's so normal.
Also normal,
especially when you're 12.
Normal.
I would.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like your brain isn't fully developed. And I would have, you're like the 12-year-old version of the kid where you know that science experiment where you show like a 4-year-old, you like
Piaget.
putting something in a chest. Exactly. And then you are like, oh, does this other person know that the thing is in the chest? And the 4-year-old is like, yeah, obviously, because the thing is in the chest.
It's Schrodinger's chest.
Exactly.
But like, if I was Mabel, I would be asking questions to make Grunkle Stan uncomfortable, because that is what I did. That was my birds and the bees conversation. I was like, oh, did you want to talk about this? Let's talk about weird stuff. Let's just make you as uncomfortable as possible. Like, but again, I'm not Mabel. Poor Mabel, just being like, I can't.
Yeah.
I just never had the talk. My parents' whole thing.
Well, we
was,
didn't really
like,
need the talk by the time the internet.
Well, exactly. Like, my parents were like, you were in kindergarten, you went to the library and you checked out a book, you brought it home. We were like, what is this? And that was it. I did it myself.
That was it. That was the talk.
I think my parents did actually and it was give me a book at one point. But it was, again, it was all stuff I already knew.
Right. So, like, I took out this book, and it was a very, like, I have, like, the faintest of memories of it. And it was just, a age-appropriate picture book, sort of giving the, like, 10,000-foot view of what you can say to a 5-year-old about, the birds and the bees. That's not the birds and the bees.
I'm so curious to read this book, like, as an adult who is an educator. Man. Yeah. Like, I feel desperately wish I could get my hands on this.
I feel like I should send you the book that my parents gave me, which I thought was really funny, but also like a cartoon book, which was also, again, really funny for some reason. But it was extremely informative and, like, very sweet. And made you feel inclusive and made you, like, understand what was happening. And I was like, yeah, okay, no, I get it. But it didn't teach me anything new. I was just like, oh, these pictures are interesting. I've seen it. We have to talk about the next episode.
Okay.
Boy.
We're 44 minutes into
crazy.
44 minutes into this episode.
And every episode is 22 minutes and every episode gets 45 minutes. This is how it works. No, I'm kidding.
We can't. Okay.
Sorry,
Boy
Paul.
Crazy.
Boys crazy.
I love boys crazy. Boys with a Z.
I love this episode because I love the like the boy band factory tin hat theory.
2013. So I looked it up. The voices of several times are a mix and match of Lance Bass, Alex Hirsch,
nice,
and Matt Chapman. Now, I didn't recognize the name Matt Chapman off the top of my head, but you know who he is? Homestar.
Oh, really?
The guy from Homestar. The guy who did Homestar Runner is Matt Chapman.
I haven't thought about Homestar Runner in so long.
Neither have
I.
It's been a long time. It's been an unfortunately long time.
I can tell you exactly how long it's been since I thought about Homestar Runner. And that was last week, right before Rosh Hashanah. Someone commented on a post. It was like, Tadash Hashanah is Rosh Hashanah because it was today is Labor Day.
I like that. It's a thinker, and the people who get it, and the people who don't get it will still think it's funny because it's fun.
Exactly.
I love that. It's a joke wrapped in a joke.
Runner. Oh man, it's been a minute.
Exactly.
Like I think about that badger mushroom thing all the time.
Same,
but not Homestar Runner.
I think about badger and mushroom all the time.
No, badger. That wasn't Homestar.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think about that.
Oh, gotcha,
all the time. Not Homestar.
Yeah. Understood. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I wrote in my notes several clones. Clones is spelled with a Z.
Several clones. I do kind of love. Do I love? I don't know. How do I feel about the fact that Dipper and Wendy are like making fun of Mabel? I don't love that they're making fun of her and the fact that boy bands are fake and contrived, and then it turns out all to be true based on this one producer. I'm like, I like that that's the twist. Mm-hmm. I don't like that Dipper and Wendy get a win.
That's true. Wendy clocked it. Because Wendy is the one who was like, I hear they're just manufactured in a vat or a pod or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't like that they're kind of ganging up on Mabel because, I hate that because I prefer Mabel.
I know.
That's it. I prefer Mabel. I said it.
I don't like the thing where Dipper is like trying to just glom onto Wendy and he's like, yeah, Mabel, they're all fake. I'm like, whatever, bro. You don't actually care about that. I don't know. You just want to join in with Wendy on this.
You're not wrong, but I can also see Dipper independently having that thought because that's a very Dipper kind of thought.
Because he is sort of conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And he could glom onto the theory for that reason. I do like,
but there's ways to do, right. there's ways to express that opinion that is not shitty to your sister. To your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I think it comes down to like, he's also trying to impress Wendy, but like, isn't he the first one to also say like, isn't that the boy band that came out 10 years too late, which I did think was actually a solid burn.
Yeah.
Because I was like 2013.
Not wrong.
Yeah. It did about 10 years too late.
Like 10 years too late. And 10 years too early, because if they came out 10 years later and were like a K-pop group, like cool, everything's fine.
Yeah.
In our hearts.
I looked it up because the guy keeps saying 2013, and in my head, this first season is just like only 2012. Yeah. It aired in April of 2013.
2013.
2013.
I love that so much.
This is the introduction of the Carla McCorkle lore.
Yes. We finally get a flashback.
Does this become a thing? More of a thing?
This becomes. I actually don't remember how much of a thing this becomes canonically.
Okay,
but there is a quite a bit of fanfic made of Carla McCorkle.
Interesting.
A particularly great one that I remember is one where Stan becomes a vampire and she's like a vampire hunter or something. It's really funny.
I appreciate that it's like a Loki Darcy thing. Again, I don't even remember how much Carla comes back, but like it feels very like the entire fandom latched on to this one meeting.
Completely.
And they're just like they were meant to be. Just let Stan Pines be happy. Just let it happen. I love the joke. And like I was watching it while Nello's playing her video game, and she literally stopped to laugh at the joke about like it was our favorite 50s diner in the 1970s or whatever it was.
God, that was such a good joke.
Such a good joke. It was so solid. It kills me every time. I laugh every single time. I see it coming. It doesn't matter.
Still funny.
Like that's a really good example of how this show works on Muppet levels. By which I mean there is a tier of joke that unless you know what Happy Days is, that's not going to land.
Right.
But independent of that, it's funny enough that a kid who has no idea what Happy Days is still going to find that funny.
Right. And the adult's going to be rolling on the floor and the kid's going to be like, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, it is very much, I'm lost. Have you tried Hare Krishna from the Muppet movies?
Yes.
From the Muppet movie. God, I'll never forget the first time I caught that joke. I must have been about like 20 or 21. I lost it. I couldn't handle it.
There's a joke from the Great Muppet Caper that for some reason I needed to be an adult to get. And I still don't know if my brain was just ADD slow and it should be a joke that a child could get. But for some reason it was too cerebral for me to actually get. And it was every time they said, we're going to catch them red-handed, someone else said, what color are their hands now?
What color are their hands now?
And for some reason, I didn't laugh at that until I was an adult, and it actually made sense. And I was like, this is a child's joke. I don't understand I didn't graduate.
It wasn't cerebral enough for you, Joy.
Yeah, right. I was overthinking it too hard.
They go so beyond rule of three in that movie.
I know.
Too.
They say it like 7 times. Like it's a repeated joke.
Keeps happening.
But yeah, I also really love I love the takedown of Robbie, but I love that it's like you took down Robbie for the wrong reasons and Wendy is just mad at you.
So the whole scene where Stan and Dipper confront Robbie on Lookout Point. My note is, okay, but Dipper invited her bowling, including Grunkle Stan.
Yes.
And I know how it was meant, and I know how she received it, but it's weird. It's weird to sort of have Wendy react as though Dipper just asked her out, even though, you know, if we're gonna put a real asterisk on it, that's kind of what he was trying to do. But it's weird for her to react that way if the invitation is, hey, why don't you and my uncle and I go bowling?
Right.
It felt, because that's the sort of thing where my friend just had to dump her boyfriend because he's a piece of shit. Hey, let's go bowling.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear you. Like I think it's kind of tricky.
I think there were two or three other questions that should have happened before Let's Go Bowling.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he overplayed his hand way too far.
Yeah.
No like, question. You know, this is not Dipper defense, to be clear. Like someone just broke up with me and then you disappear and you come back with 3 pints of ice cream and you sit quietly and then it's like, well, what do you want to stay in tonight or we could do something? Like, I think I need to get out of the house. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's 4 other steps that
can we go bowling. I just need to be out of my house.
I mean, I also sit here being like, but you also had 2 dudes whose literal job it was to take down Robbie. Like, this wasn't about Wendy. Not really. They were looking for the mystery. They found the mystery. They exposed the jerk. And then they were like, hey, Wendy. And I was like, this is not your moment. Don't shoot your shot.
Right.
Like,
No.
There will be so many more moments. But, you know, I don't know.
Wendy, can we take you home? Would you like to get ice cream on the way? Like,
right.
You know?
So easy.
Do you need a ride back to town?
Do you need a ride back to town? Because obviously you're in Robbie's car.
Nowhere.
They're in Lookout Point. I don't know how far away from town that is.
Like, I know the girls got wilderness training, but like, I don't want to be walking home in rural Oregon.
Yeah, exactly.
From Lookout Point at, 11:30 at night. Hard pass.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying though, where it's just like, I don't know if she took that as the pass that it was. I feel like she just genuinely needed somebody to care about her in that moment. And the answer was no one. No one cared about her in that moment.
Yeah.
Like Grunkle Stan wanted to go bowling with Dipper. Dipper just wanted to go out with Wendy and win. And like, Wendy's just like, could you not? I was just mind controlled. Could we just get away from me? Like, which is the correct response is what I'm saying, listeners.
Can you read a room? No, you cannot.
If you are mind controlled, if you have a moment and you wake up from it, just take a moment for yourself.
It's just self-care.
It's self-care. A few other pieces from this episode because I love it so much. Finally, a good reason to punch a teenager while we're talking about Grunkle Stan.
So good.
Taking down Robbie.
Yep.
Darn beautiful men always eating out of my trash.
I wrote down Seuss being a real one when the producer shows up and is just like, have you seen any like attractive blah 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 men? And Seuss being like, every time I look in the mirror, right up top.
I love Seuss so much.
We love Seuss.
We
have no choice but to stand
Seuss. I love him. Everything he says, everything he does. There's no notes.
It's the real MVP.
Like, it's just, there's just so much positivity and just sort of like, hey guys, what's going on?
What's up?
What are we doing today? All right, cool.
I also wrote down Possessive Mabel is my favorite because
I mean, but Joy, every boy Mabel has loved this summer has left her.
I know. Look, as someone who has, I know we just had a whole conversation about like how, I had so many preconceived notions about the world around me. There was definitely a level of, and I think the 90s were mostly to blame for this, but there was a level of like being a possessive girlfriend is a positive actually. And that's what people want you to be. Like you want to be, I saw recently there was like a post about like toxic monogamy. and the different points of toxic monogamy of just like, and you are expected to be jealous. If you are a jealous girlfriend, you are a good girlfriend. And it's like, you know what I mean? And like concepts like that like
jealousy is a way to prove your love.
Exactly.
Or like, oh, it's so cute when you get jealous.
Yes. It's like, oh, it's adorable. And it means you care. It's like there are other ways to show that you care. Like there was a bunch of other stuff too that was like making your insecurities other people's problems, which I think goes along with this. But like, there is, you know, just like we talked about with Gallivant of like, oh, they're miserable. They must be in love. Like for a very long time, I was like, if someone is possessive of you, that must mean they're in love. And I think we get that with Mabel, even though it's still like, I call this dark Mabel. I'm like in my head, I'm just like, oh no, it's dark Mabel. Like she's only caring about herself. And she's just like, I will keep these 5 men in my room for the rest of time.
For me.
They're mine.
They're mine.
Which should be really interesting because I'm sure that they're all like 6 months old and she has no idea what the actual life cycle of a clone is. So that could get really messy.
But also they're they're babies. Like they don't know how to do anything.
Born sexy yesterday.
Born sexy yesterday.
Gravity Falls is a Born sexy yesterday episode.
Aliens yesterday.
Because it's like
yes, they also don't. They also don't know how to drink out of like a glass of water. I am familiar with the joke. Yes.
Yeah, they don't know how to drink out of a glass,
which I thought was great. I love that.
They've never seen the sun before.
They've never seen nature. They've never seen the outside.
That was staring down the sun gets me
so good.
I also really love that they get fed these giant hamster treats.
the food pellets.
The one guy like munching on it.
I also wrote down poor Candy not paying attention to where she was going and smashing into the vending machine.
She's just so excited. She's so excited.
She's just so excited. Wrong 1000 was also something I wrote down.
That was really funny. Actually, Joy, this is an interesting thing because I feel like the things about Mabel that we recognize from ourselves.
Sure.
Because I was kind of that way as a little bit too, but as an adult watching this and knowing the point of view of that person and knowing the point of view of the person seeing those things, like the secondhand embarrassment was real. Where it was like suddenly I'm like seeing all of the times I did crap like that and going, oh, I was awful.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So is that the same feeling that a lot of people had when they watched Turning Red? And they were like, oh no, I was absolutely feral for...
I mean, probably.
Oh no. There's I'm going to butcher the story and I apologize. Everybody can probably look it up on the internet, but there was a huge debate over how her face should look when she was drawing those like sexy pictures of Devin.
Yes.
And there was a huge debate over like how much eye pop, how much like blush, how much all of that. And I was like, well, I thank you so much for doing all of that debate because 1000% was that my face when I would draw things like that.
Like underneath the bed, furiously scribbling. I mean, this was me just like seeing the discourse online and being like, oh, this is a shared experience. You know?
This is apparently a thing people did.
I guess this is a thing that people did.
I
Go
love
under their beds.
Alien Danielle, who is just like observing humanity sometimes.
Well, so like I had a weird. I
thought that this was amped up for the cartoon, and then everyone was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not." And I was like,
"No,
it is not."
No, the whole thing, especially this. So the reason I got confused about what episode was what was because the vibes of this episode and the way Carpet Diem goes are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're almost in tandem. Like these are two very girl-centric, girl evening.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the little girl crew situation continues for both episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. I never felt like I had that girl crew.
Sure. My girl crew consisted of a lot of dudes.
Well, No, just I didn't have that many friends in school.
Fair. Yeah, neither did I.
I absolutely did have some friends. And were they to listen to this and say I didn't have friends, they'd probably get kind of pissed at me. But like, I never felt that I had that like until later on. But like, and in point of fact, like one of the people in that crew is still one of my, ride or dies to this day. But like, I would watch stuff, and there would be like a girl with her crew, and I'd be like, I wonder what that's like, because I didn't feel like I knew.
Yeah, no, fair. I always felt like an intruder, to be entirely honest. I felt like a very, like I actually, this was the other thing I was going to talk about too with the sleepover. My favorite thing is that Grenda says something like, "Put makeup on my face."
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're mentioning that, because if you didn't, that was going to be my one more thing.
But like, and then Mabel is like, "But why would I do that? You're already so gorgeous."
Yeah.
And I was like, where's this crew?
Yes.
Because I was always like, I was the insert, we're going to do a makeover on you. Like I was always the like, well, we need to get you the right clothes, and we need to get you the right hairstyle, and you need to be doing all these right things. So it was always this weird, like, outsider-esque. It's like, I know a lot of people talk about like, being queer in non-queer spaces, and it felt like that, but it didn't feel like that because I was queer. It mostly felt like that because I guess I wasn't as traditionally attractive as the other girls who would be in that group. So like, which is again why I gravitated more to having dude friends, because the dude friends aren't going to try and like make you prettier. You're just going to exist with them, which is fine. And so it had like, I do remember having female friends as a tween or like an early teen, preteen, but like it was definitely not as close knit as media likes to make it, because sometimes it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
But I still sympathize a lot with a lot of the things all of those girls are going through. Like 100%, like in Red, in Gravity Falls, of like, we have to go to this concert and become women. Yes, 100%. Because he's going to see you in the crowd and instantly fall in love with you. And that's your new husband. And now you're married. That's how that works.
You. Not the girl next to you. Not the girl next to you.
Not the other 5,000 women who came here to become women and find love. No. You.
You.
No.
Look, everyone just wants a piece of Deep Chris.
Everyone wants a piece of Deep Chris. I love those boys so much. I also love that I think it's Candy that clocks they're not going to last. They won't last a week.
Yes, it is Candy. It's definitely Candy.
Candy has some really great one-liners in these episodes that are
Candy is like the sneak funniest of the whole show. Like she is that person who doesn't say much and then says like the one sentence that has everybody dying, and they will talk about it for the next week. Completely. She
just swings in and snipes. I think we can hit up the last episode unless there was more for this one.
No,
I'm okay with the last episode. Like, listen, if we remember something, we can make it a one more thing.
I mean, I do have in caps, "Get wrecked, Robbie." Which, I mean, that's just an evergreen statement.
That's just a big mood. That's
copy pasted as a header onto every single one of my notes pages.
Always be wrecking Robbie. Always.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't. Is Robbie in this episode? No. Get wrecked, Robbie.
Yes, Land Before Swine, which I think is, I know we just talked about how much I love those other two episodes. I think of these three, I like Land Before Swine the most. Just because it's a Waddle-centric episode.
Oh, I do love
Waddles. And who doesn't love Waddles?
I do love Waddles. It starts with a cute moment between the sheriff and his deputy, of course.
It does.
Yes.
Tearing off the top of the cop car. The pterodactyl.
Oh, wait. Was it in the last episode where they're reading each other's, where the sheriff is reading the horoscopes, and the deputy is like, I'm a Gemini. You knew? And he's like, of course I knew.
Of course I knew. Let them be gay.
The time we spend together is treasure enough.
I think they're doing it. I don't think we need to let them do anything. They're already doing it.
They just are. They just are. Gay. There was the whole, I know we've kind of already covered this, so I won't touch on it too much, but like I remember there was a whole conversation in the 90s and the aughts that was like, why do you have to say they're gay? Mm. And then at some point the conversation became, why can't you say they're gay? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Well, because DeSantis wrote that law.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I just feel like it's they were roommates, like, oh my God, I just feel a lot like, but Harold, they're lesbians. Like, somebody say it. Harold. Somebody say they live together and somebody forgot to bring home the milk. Just one of you, just one time. Please. But yes, man. No, I love that the pterodactyl tears off the top and brings it back to his nest. So we see it in the nest later.
Yes.
I'm just like, what was the baby pterodactyl supposed to do with that? It's like just something shiny. It's like a crow. It's like...
Yeah, exactly.
But, now my show OTP has a convertible, so it's all good.
There you go.
I also love how positive they are. I'm just like, oh no, is this a bad thing? And it's just like, no, now we have a convertible. I'm talk about ride or die.
Right?
Love these two forever and a day. Mm-hmm. I love the pig dance party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Pig dance party.
So I love that Mabel gets so tired and Waddles is like, asleep. Are you okay?
This is where if we were watching this episode together or like in separate places, but together, I would have sent that like, I understood that reference gif.
Yeah. I understood that reference.
Like, I get this.
You probably would have had to grab a cat to hold a cat for this episode. I feel like that's very Danielle.
I think that's valid. We have a good side, a good news and bad news. The good news is really funny infomercial bit.
Yes.
Bad news, it's Justin Roiland. Yes. Sorry, everybody. But only Justin Roiland could deliver. It works for pigs. In just that way.
Eyes on the screen.
All the eyes. I love that this is a question people in. Where are we talking about? Rural Oregon ask each other,
right? But does it work for pigs?
Does it work for
pigs? It works for pigs.
But does it work for pigs?
Brilliant.
I love that when Grunkle Stan gets confronted, he freaks out and says, "What's a pig?"
What's a pig?
He starts listing excuse upon excuse upon excuse, and the last thing he says is, "What's a pig?" And I'm like, Grunkle Stan.
He knew he fucked up.
He did. He knew it was bad the minute it happened, which is how you knew he was going to grow as a person, because it wasn't waiting for Mabel to like get mad at him. He knew instantly that this was a bad thing that just happened, which is how you know he's growing and changing. I like the real center of the like journey to the center of the earth vibes. I also like that Dipper and Zeus were like inseparable in this episode, but also still.
I love the pairings in this episode because we don't. No,
the pairings in this episode are really good.
Zeus and Dipper as like buddies before this.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it was so weirdly refreshing. Mm-hmm. I think. I want Dipper to have a male role model who is not Grunkle Stan.
Who's not Grunkle Stan? Yes. Ugh. Dipper.
And someone as solid as Zeus, like you can't ask for anyone.
He is the best
better.
of big brothers.
Like,
I want him for a big brother.
Yeah. I also just randomly wrote Dinos trapped in sap because I think that's funny.
No, the whole conceit of the sap was just brilliant. Yes. The thing that I really love about this episode, this is a really great episode from a design standpoint. All of the backgrounds are beautiful. I think the
no, this is where you really see the artistic the artistic prowess sort of show up. You don't get it in every episode, but like sometimes they really just let them shine.
I believe the name of the background artist is a guy named Ian Worrell. And anytime, like, it just
nice.
Mwah, everything is just incredible. There's just,
I mean, speaking of dinosaurs and sap, Jill, this is another one of those not funny climate change sort of references.
Precisely. 100%.
I was like, oh, it's melting the sap and the dinosaurs are coming out, like how we're melting the ice and the microbes are coming. Very cool. Very fun.
Other, just all the things that are coming to kill us because things are melting.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
I was tenderly nursing him with the richest of creams. It is one of the funniest line reads ever. Maybe.
Yes.
So and just like
my favorite thing about that is, okay, so I guess this is just like Joy shares, probably overshares too much on the podcast episode, but we'll see how much of it actually ends up.
Last episode was the vignette episode. This episode was we get a little bit nostalgic about our tween years, you know?
About our tween years.
In a show that's like explicitly about
tweens,
the conflict and struggle that comes up during your tween years, like that feels normal to me.
And having that one weird summer before you become a teenager. I distinctly remember I don't even know if I was a tween, but as a kid watching things, whenever someone lied, I had a moment that was like, but you have to make the lie believable because I was this kid. I was like, I would hear their lie. It would be so ridiculous. And then I was like, but you could never follow through on that. And I just want to give a good shout out to Grunkle Stan for following through on making his lie believable because he literally does the things he says later.
Yes, he does. Minus the richest of creams. You know, maybe we'll get there.
They'll stop at the dusk to dawn on the way home.
Yes. I think this episode is so good. I love that, like, Mabel is also one of those people of just like, and you've crossed me once and now you're on the list. You know,
that's it. Like there is a line. The line is you hurt Waddles and we are done.
Yeah.
You and me are done professionally.
And I love that it forces Grunkle Stan to actually look at it and have this moment of growth where he's like, it's not only because she's my favorite niece and she makes me happy, but Waddles is genuinely like a super cool pig. And like, why would I ever let anything bad happen to Waddles?
I mean, look at that face. Why would you?
It's not just the growth, but it's the growth. And I appreciate that.
Waddles.
It's not just I know Waddles is the best.
In my notes, I have interesting shift from episodic, Mabel and Stan at odds, Mabel and Dipper not entirely trusting Seuss.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And in both cases, like really resolves beautifully.
Yeah.
Nothing felt forced for me there. You know, as much as the show ever feels forced, which is to say, a lot of weird stuff happens.
Which is to say, sometimes
they know exactly how far they can Deus Ex the Machina.
Right.
Yeah. They handle it considering the parameters they've created for their own show, they handle it in a very believable way.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen a character do something so ridiculously out of character that I like, but they would never do that. You know? And it doesn't feel like, you know, I'm sure some of the episodes we've watched up until now are quote unquote filler episodes. And like nothing has ever felt like a filler. Like nothing ever feels just like it's just there to just be there.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for Dipper's crush on Wendy. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Because we didn't know what else to do with Dipper. He couldn't just be Sherlock for his whole summer.
Oh, man.
Too cerebral, Joy. Too cerebral.
I know. I'm overthinking it.
Like, I hate how, on the one hand, Dipper's crush on Wendy and how he reacts to it and how he behaves around it are extremely believable, but they are also excruciating to watch. So I guess it's the same thing as
talk about cringe factor.
Right. Like I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing as watching Mabel, where you're like, oh my God, don't do that. Don't open the door. Don't open it. Oh my God, you went into the dark room. Like it's, you see the potholes they're about to fall down.
Yeah. But that's part of what makes it believable. Right?
Sure.
Because like whose tween crush wasn't cringe?
Yeah.
None of us.
Oh man.
None of us are safe.
I'm going to tell you after we're done recording.
Yeah.
Coward. No, I'm kidding.
No. When you hear, you're going to be like, no, you definitely want that not on a recorded media. It wasn't when I was a tween. It was when I was 14. It was in 9th grade.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a person I had a huge crush on. Mm-hmm. And literally every day I go, oh no, because of this crush. That I will tell you who it was when we are no longer recording, because I do not want this on recorded media.
Yeah. That's pod. Very fair. Where are we episode wise? Yeah.
No,
I feel like we're at one more things. Okay. So, we didn't really touch on this too much, but I needed to talk about how Dipper actively reads his mystery novels.
It was delightful.
I watched that and I was like, I cannot personally relate to that, but I have had friends who actively read, and it is the funniest thing to watch. I never found it particularly annoying, but then again, I was never trying to sleep while I watched them do this.
Yes.
But like, I had a roommate. So for a number of years, I was roommates with my best friend from high school. And it was great because they would just sit on the couch and I would sit next to them and they would be having these in-depth, like I am conversations with people and just really reacting to every single thing that was typed. And I was just so like, you are a treasure to watch.
I love that. I like how genuine that is, because I feel like, not that I'm not feeling it on the inside, but like sometimes when I emote, it is performative because that's what you have to do when you're in a social setting. And like, I'm definitely the person who will be like, ha 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 ha, ha typing, but my face is just,
but your face is nothing.
Because no one's watching, so that's not important.
like when my friends see that I type, like if I'm in the same room with a friend on a group chat and I type in LOL and that friend turns to me and goes, "You didn't laugh."
Liar.
Liar. But yeah, I thought it was very cute. And I like that Mabel is like, this is awful. I hate this. And I'm just like, you know what? If I was trying to sleep, I might be a little bit annoyed also. But I just thought it was adorable.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I like that character note for Dipper.
It's very consistent.
Okay, here. Let me go next because mine is sort of nothing, but it is just sort of on my brain. And so I simply must say it, which is that Waddles is adorable. And I want to give him a big squishy hug.
Yes.
And
he would accept that hug
so many times in these 3 episodes, like beginning with when he is sunning on the experimental rug, and he's in the sun because you can see the stains glass around him. And Seuss just goes for it. And I'm like, oh, that I would too. Look at that little belly. Look at that little, and he's like going back and forth. It's so cute. Okay. And then even like little moments where literally Waddle's body and facial expression, I can see it in my brain right now when he's like tied to the post outdoors with the cutest little Mabel matching sweater right before the creature snatches him up. Mm-hmm. It's so cute.
And then all the squeals as he's being carried away for a minute. And this happens every time I watch it for some reason. For a hot minute, I don't always think Waddles is going to react.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know why my brain is like, why wouldn't a pig react to a giant flying thing picking you up and taking you off into the air? But I feel like he is so quiet generally and just gives his little snorts that you don't always hear him squeal. So when he squeals, it's like a thing.
Like, no. And then,
Waddles!
like, when Waddles is in Seuss's body, and he's, like, rolling and languishing around the gift shop and just randomly eating
tissues.
And then you understand that this is who Waddles is on the inside.
Yes.
Everything about it is beautiful. And I love him. And I wish I could give him a hug. That's my one more thing.
Yes. Yes. I love that your one more thing is give Waddles a hug.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I love when Seuss is in Waddles' body and he finds the mud puddle and he goes, "Dast I? Dare I?
Dare I? Do I dare?
Do I dare live the dream?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh God, it was so good.
And he has no regret. He has a little bit of regrets after McGucket shows up, but not about the mud puddle.
Yeah.
Not about the mud puddle.
No. So one of the things in my notes that I did mention earlier, because it didn't really come up, was I'm not sure. It's never really said if Dipper and Mabel share a room at home.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And so,
I just assumed they did because it was such a big deal for them to not share a room.
Mm.
Yeah,
but you're right. They don't actually say they neither confirm nor deny.
Their family is not coded in such a way that their family would not be able to afford a house with a separate bedroom for each child.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. They may not be rich, but they are well-to-do, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a good category?
Yeah.
Upper middle.
Yeah. They're getting older. Like it's one thing, when you grow up with a specific family to have your twins share a room when they're under the age of like 6, but then when they're 12. Going on 13. I guess, no, you're right. I didn't really think about that. Maybe, Joy, part of the reason they're so upset about it is that this is like a special summertime thing. But I don't know. Or they realize they like it.
I think that, because they also just don't feel like siblings that live in the same room. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean, they definitely have tics that bother each other, which it would be really funny if that just suddenly started with puberty, I guess.
Right, like suddenly that.
Like I 100% believe Dipper has read like this since he learned how to read.
100%.
Oh yeah,
no question.
Yeah.
And I also believe that Mabel has been putting makeup.
This girly.
Pardon?
This girly.
I was going to say putting makeup on anything that would sit still long enough.
Also that.
Does she put makeup on Waddles? Is that going to happen?
I genuinely don't remember. I was going to say that Mabel does test makeup on animals because she thinks it looks cute. But she's not selling.
What if Waddles had a little mascara?
Right? Just a little rouge, just some contouring maybe.
I feel like you need to give Waddles that geisha lip.
Yes.
That little little dot.
Mm-hmm. the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Another one more thing is now I'm second guessing myself. The songwriters for the music
for several times.
All right, so Cray Cray was written by Alex Hirsch and Brad Breek. They may all have been written by Alex Hirsch and Brad Breek.
Cray Cray is pretty funny.
So funny.
It's no Four Town, but it's not Narhearts. But it's
Narhearts, so good.
No one will ever be Narhearts. Narhearts is Narhearts, and that's it.
So I'm just looking at the trivia for Boys Crazy.
Yeah.
If you'll indulge me, because these are really funny. Lance Bass guest starring was a gift from Alex Hirsch to his sister Ariel, who was obsessed with Lance Bass at Mabel's age. She jokingly suggested that he voice one of the characters, and Alex told her, "We'll get Lance Bass to do a voice and you can meet him," and ultimately he kept his word.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
No, that's so sweet. Oh no.
The working title for the episode was Only the Clonely.
I'm so mad that I think that's so funny.
I think that's better.
During the fight amongst the crowd at the concert, McGucket can be seen in the background crowd surfing.
Nice. That's excellent. That's excellent.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
The members of Several Times are the first Gravity Falls characters to have both irises and pupils.
Whoa.
Oh. Wait, like in the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everyone has the cartoon like circle and dot.
Yeah, I just didn't notice that they were different. I'm going to have to go back and like rewatch and find it.
Alex Hirsch originally intended to clarify in the story that Robbie did not purposefully put a backwards message into Wendy's song to control her. Instead, as Robbie stated at the end, he plagiarized the song from another band that had put the backwards message.
Yeah.
And it was included in his version as a result of his plagiarism. Dipper was meant to learn that he wasn't looking out for Wendy, was instead finding conspiracies. This is your point.
Yes.
This is what you said, Danielle.
Yeah.
Dipper was meant to learn that he wasn't looking out for Wendy and was instead finding conspiracies where none existed and, quote, sticking his nose where it didn't belong, simply because he was jealous of Robbie and couldn't come to terms with Wendy's attraction to Robbie. The members of Several Times shout 2013 multiple times in this episode. Mm-hmm. The line was originally 2012, but it was changed before airing because the episode aired in the year 2013.
Love it so
According
much.
to Alex Hirsch, the show does not take place in any set year, and this line does not refer to the year the show takes place, Shore Jam. Despite that, there continues to be confusion among fans due to Several Times saying 2013, that the show is set in 2013. And while Alex Hirsch has never confirmed it, the show is very likely set in 2012, given it is the year with the most dates in the show. That makes sense with, and because it was the date, the year the show began.
I love that. I still love that they shout 2013.
Like, it was so funny.
It's excellent.
I'm watching this. When I first watched this, it was like 2015 or 2016. So that was like extra funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, sitting here in the year of our Lord 2023, I think it's hilarious. It's the bomb.com.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
and on
that covers
note,
it. I think
shall we do the "This is where you find us" spiels?
Yeah.
Yes. And everyone can find Jill Friedman. We will leave their contact information down in the show notes. Blue Sky.
I was going to say,
I had it
Jill,
memorized for a second.
I know you're working on spelling it. I have not worked on spelling it.
MXLAB. Oh, fuck. You'd think I literally, it's a word I write literally 12 times a day. I don't know why it's so hard to develop.
Muscle memory.
Exactly, because I'm used to typing it, not saying it.
Exactly.
MXLABRADORITE MixLabradorate at Blue Sky .social. You know, because
awesome.
I'm not cool. My card is linked on there. I've got a YouTube channel. Come watch some stuff. There's a Gravity Falls episode on there, but don't watch it, Danielle, because it's all spoilers.
Yeah, if you've seen the entire show, it is safe for you to watch.
Yes. You're going to give me the heads up when it is safe for me to watch it.
Yes.
It won't be. You have to see the whole season.
Oh, the whole
show.
Watch it. Okay, before the wrap up.
We'll do a wrap up. We'll watch the video and we'll talk about it.
Okay, and if you're looking for Bach Pod, then you can check us out at Binge O'Clock Pod on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question, what is your favorite dinosaur? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com, and don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/BachPod.
That's right, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the live lobsters in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
We are here to talk about Galaxy Quest, which is a movie we love.